Formula One is not just a battle of speed. It's not only about engines, downforce, and tire strategy, it's also a game of psychology, a war of tiny details where mind games can make the difference between victory and defeat. And back in 2021, at the height of one of the fiercest rivalries the sport has ever seen, Max Verstappen understood this better than most. He knew that Lewis Hamilton wasn't just another rival, he was the standard, a 7-time world champion, a man who had built an empire of dominance, both on the track and in the paddock. But Verstappen, still young, hungry, and defiant, wanted to break that empire. And as it turns out, he used one very cheeky, very subtle tactic to get under Hamilton's skin. A tactic his former performance engineer, Bradley Scanes, has now revealed. It all happened off track, in places where fans rarely get to look, the cool-down room after a race, or the moments before the post-session press conferences. According to Scanes, Hamilton would always take his time after stepping out of the car. He liked to change fully out of his race kit, fix his hair, and put on his own clothes before facing the media. It was part of his routine, his ritual, the way he carried himself as the face of Formula One. Verstappen, on the other hand, used to do the opposite. Early on, he'd keep it simple, change his race suit or just walk straight into the press conference as he was. But over time, something changed. He and his team started to notice that Hamilton's long preparation was forcing Max to wait, and that annoyed him. So Verstappen flipped the script. He began to take his own time, deliberately, piece by piece, changing every part of his kit, making Hamilton wait instead. And suddenly, the power dynamic shifted. As Scanes put it, it was just a power trip thing. We're not waiting for you anymore. The baton has been passed, and we're taking over from here. Think about that for a second. It wasn't about clothes. It wasn't about hair. It was about control, about sending a message to Hamilton that the young challenger wasn't just going to play by the rules of the old guard. Verstappen was saying, "This is my era now." And honestly, this is what makes the rivalry so fascinating. Hamilton had always been the master of mental warfare, intimidating rivals with his composure, his presence, his routines. But Verstappen found a way to turn Hamilton's own habits against him. It was small, almost petty, but incredibly effective. Formula One is built on these margins. On track, a tenth of a second can define a career. Off track, a tiny gesture can tilt the psychological balance. For Hamilton, maybe it was nothing more than an annoyance, but for Verstappen, it was symbolic. It was proof that he could disrupt the king, rattle his cage, and claim his place at the top. And if you look at how 2021 ended, you can argue that these games mattered, because the season wasn't just about pace or strategy. It was about resilience, pressure, and refusing to break when the world was watching. And different enough to remind us why Formula One is the ultimate test, not just of speed, but of evolution, and that his reign was being challenged. In the end, that subtle power trip wasn't just about wasting a few minutes in a changing room. It was a declaration of intent, a small moment that spoke volumes, the champion of the past versus the champion of the future. And in the most dramatic season Formula One had seen in years, Max Verstappen proved that even the smallest psychological edge can help topple a giant.